right, everybody, welcome to another show of the Three Count. This is your Money in the Bank review and your Monday Raw after Money in the Bank review as well, and any other topics that we might bring up to the table. This is your host for the shows, Prince Jaquan, Betty the Driver, and Paulinho. So we got a lot to talk about Money in the Bank. When last time we left off, we said we were not impressed with the card. And do any of you guys want to take back on saying you weren't impressed with the card at all? Or anything that might surprise you before we get into these matches and the results?
I'd say the quality of the matches were better than I expected. But it wasn't that I was unimpressed by it. It was just, okay, well, you could kind of see where everything was going up until the last match. Like, it was pretty predictable. But, I mean, it's like everything that happened in between the start of the bell and the end of the bell was a little like, okay, all right. But the results and everything was fine. Like, I figured most of it was going to happen.
Benny?
It pretty much was what I thought it would be. Obviously, just like any wrestling show nowadays, it's suffering from the fact that it doesn't have a crowd. And like I said, the biggest things that suffered were at the end of the night. And like I said, I'm going to go over that, how my thoughts are on that when we get to it. But like I said, for the rest of the card, for the most part, like it felt like Raw. It felt like SmackDown.
Let me put it this way. The show was okay for me. The one thing I had a problem with was with the both Money in the Bank matches being the last match, pretty much, like the main event, to close the show. As soon as we saw all the titles have been defended or changed hands, whatever you want to call it, whatever happened in the results, as we will get to, and then we got to Money in the Bank, we're like, okay, there's no cash in. To me, it ruined it a little bit because of the fact that previous shows, when you have the Money in the Bank that happens either in the beginning or the middle, and you still have the titles to go up, you're like, are they going to cash? Like, it leaves you on the edge of your seat just a little bit, if not right on the edge, depending on how the match goes for a catch. And that's what's just I kind of didn't like about the show that just happened. I thought it was okay for me, and again, agree with you guys. Everything seemed like it was like we knew what was going to happen, until the actual Money in the Bank matches, which we will get to. We're going to save those for the end, like they did. So let's start off with the pre-show, which is Jeff Hardy and Cesaro, the only pre-show match, which I was surprised. It was what we thought it was. It was a match to get Jeff Hardy back into the rhythm of things coming off his injury. And it was going to be him getting the win, obviously, because he's supposed to be getting a push coming up soon. So just trying to get him back in shape, get the ring rust off of him. So to me, it was no surprise. Okay.
I feel like the one thing I noticed about this match was more Cesaro than anything, because it's so sad to see Cesaro put on great match after great match after great match, and then just nothing. Like, he gets no reward for it. Like, it's just sad, man. Like, that's just kind of how I feel about it. It's just sad. But yeah, it was a really good match that, again, probably would have benefited from a crowd, because regardless to what, Jeff Hardy gets a pop. So you would have gotten something. But overall, the match, I think, was fine. But again, it was a little unpredictable in spots, because like they had some really good spots, and I thought Jeff Hardy died a couple of times, which kind of promotes a good Jeff Hardy match.
I was gonna say that's pretty much every Jeff Hardy match.
Yeah, because it's like it's like, okay, you can see he has a little bit more spring back in the step, and then he'll do a move, and you're just like, ugh. Oh yeah, no, the old Jeff, like the new Jeff's about to come out.
You still alive?
Yeah, it's like, bro, you good? Are you okay? I'm just kind of waiting to see if they bring back the No More Lights Jeff Hardy, which I firmly think he should, because like the Hardy Boy Jeff Hardy kind of isn't working when Matt's not there, and it never was, which is why he originally did what he did anyway. I just feel like they need to just commit to his singles gimmick that he had in the early 2000s and let him rock out that way. Or bring back Willow from TNA.
Does he own that?
I think that might be a part of the Matt Hardy situation.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not 100% sure, but I'm sure Matt wouldn't stop Jeff from using Willow in WWE if he really wanted to. But I'm not sure about what the legality of that is.
Yeah, if he owns it, I don't. If Matt owns it or Jeff owns it, I don't think. One, if Jeff owns it, he'll use it. If Matt owns it, I don't think he won't let his brother not use it in order to help.
Yeah, I don't think he'll stop him. But from what I understood, that was he just owned Brother Nero.
Oh, then maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Maybe he should do the Brother Nero gimmick just to freshen up his gimmicks, because again, we've seen No More Lights, we've seen Hardy Boy Jeff, but at this point you're just kind of waiting for the like, okay, when are we going to get Jeff back? Like, when are we really going to get singles run Jeff? Like, even a heel turn Jeff would be great, because heel Jeff Hardy was dope.
Yeah, I think the Willow character should come out. I don't think Brother Nero should come out. Brother Nero is like a broken Matt Hardy type thing. I like Willow in WWE, and I like to see a process for him to become Willow. I don't want you snap your finger and he's Willow. I want like he breaks down or something, he has to figure something out, and then Willow just comes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
What's your take, Benny?
I honestly don't have a take on this one or anything before Bobby Lashley showed up, because I was asleep. I was trying to stay up. Y'all know what my work schedule is on Sunday, right? When I got home around, I want to say 4:30, 5 o'clock, and I was just like, all right, there's no point in me, nodding off or whatever before, Money in the Bank starts up. So I was up here trying to stay up. I'm trying to stay up. The PlayStation is on. Next thing I know, the PlayStation is playing me. And then I turned the game off, went over to the network, and when I went to the network, Lashley was standing in the ring facing off against R-Truth, and MVP was leaving, and I was like, okay, so this is what we're doing.
So the next match is the tag team title, where the New Day actually ends up retaining the belts. And
I told y'all.
Huh?
Said I told y'all that was gonna happen.
Yeah, Lucha House Party and took the fall, which I knew that's what they were there for, to take the pin. I was kind of not surprised on this one. Kind of not sort of. I was looking for some title to change hands, because I don't think any title changed hands.
Nope.
No title changed hands. I was looking for at least this one to change hands. At least this one. It didn't happen though. So I'm not mad about it. It's New Day, but again, like we had a conversation before, Woods is missing, so it's not the same without him. It's not.
Yeah.
He's the integral part for New Day. You can have Biggie out for whatever reason or take him away, but as long as Woods is there, he's like the biggest mouthpiece for that group.
I mean, he created the New Day, so I mean, like that's the biggest thing that you see. He's kind of the genius that keeps the engine going. Because I mean, Kofi's great, E's great, but Xavier really keeps that engine churning for that group. What's funny about this match actually is my connection was conking out during this match. So I literally had to fast forward through this match. So I literally got snapshots and frames of the entire match and didn't even watch the match. I just watched like frames of it until once I saw Big E do the big ending, I was like, yep, that's it. So I mean, like there's not a lot of opinion on this match. It's just to me, it's so sad that Miz and Morrison are where they are. And for me, it's obvious that Forgotten Sons got called up too early. And they have zero build. And it's obvious. Because even though, yes, they were fine, their moveset is fine, like everything about them is fine, but you're constantly asking, why are they here? And it's like they look like a replacement for the Usos, and it's like it sucks when you're the team that's replacing one of, if not the best tag team in the last like 15 years on a roster where it's like you just have to come in and make it work, but they give you no story, they give you no build, they give you nothing to work with, and that's kind of what the Forgotten Sons were there for. And it's like, yeah, they were your typical, like, they're giving the Forgotten Sons a revival treatment, and it's like, it's terrible because you see it, and it's like, well, they're gonna be basically the new freaking Heath Slater and Rhino in like 6 months. So
yeah, Jackson Riker's probably getting pulled out of there, and they're gonna give him an individual push.
Which is terrible because Jackson Riker is not a good wrestler at all.
But he fits Vince's mold.
I know why he's there, and I know why he get a single push, but he is just terrible. Like, if you were gonna do that gimmick with like a standalone guy, it would have made more sense to actually pair them with Damian Priest.
Yes and no.
You get because again, the image still can stay the same, but Damian Priest is just a better wrestler than Jackson Riker. That's all it is.
Yeah, but Benny said he missed his match, obviously.
Yep.
Because the PlayStation.
I mean, you ain't really miss nothing.
Yeah, you didn't. It wasn't that much to miss. I was like watching. I was just like, So let's go to the next one. Let's go to the one that he caught on to, which is, it was supposed to be R-Truth versus MVP, but we ended up getting Bobby Lashley versus R-Truth, which had one of the best comedic spots of the whole night.
Yep.
R-Truth smacks the crap out of him.
Slapped the shit out of Bobby Lashley.
That spot had me hollering. Oh my god!
It's such great, like it shows R-Truth's genius though. Like, the things that annoy you about R-Truth as a worker is what makes him so good, and especially in those spots. But I also love that it was signaling, like, they use this segment to kind of hint at MVP building a stable and MVP kind of becoming, hopefully, the Black people's Paul Heyman. Because if they give him 2 more black guys instead of the 2 Australian guys, I will be over the moon. Because I feel like they could actually, if given the space to do something, the MVP could almost revitalize his career as a manager and really put a lot of guys over if they give them the latitude to do it. But we'll see.
Yes, and I woke up as Bobby Lashley was facing off against R-Truth. And I mean facing off as in standing in his face, and then R-Truth with his protest as to why he shouldn't have to be forced to stay out there while MVP gets the night off, and then accidentally, because I believe he did it on purpose, slap the shit out of Bobby Lashley. MV comedy spot of the night, as I said. This match really wasn't anything. It was it was honestly that it's a filler match. These are the people that we have on hand, so we had to put something out there to fill time. I believe in the actuality, the pay-per-view only ended up being a little around 2.5 hours, I think it was.
Something like that.
So, like I said, it was a real nothing match. It's not anything. I love seeing them perform, both of them. But when we made our picks and everything, the first thing that I said when I picked MVP was I believe they're going to try and build something for MVP. And the fact that the very next night on Raw, MVP starts to approach Bobby Lashley about becoming his manager and coming out with basically saying that Lana's dead weight for him and all of this other stuff. He's trying to dig down and turn Bobby Lashley into the killer that Bobby Lashley is supposed to be or should be booked as. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, I agree with this. This needs to happen. I like it. We need to have Bobby Lashley out there as somebody who is a force to be reckoned with, rather than somebody who's, just a comedy spot. And if this is the beginnings to it, more power to you. I got no problem with it whatsoever.
It was an interesting match. It was a good storytelling not the match, but before it and after it. The match was a match. It was R-Truth match. He was being funny, goofy, hitting his normal spots. And it was what it needed to be. Bobby needed to squash him. We got what we got. So it was what it was, a squash match. And setting up the R-Truth and not R-Truth, sorry, Bobby Lashley and MVP dialogues, which came up on Monday Night Raw the next night as well too. So right. I mean, it got done what it needed to get done with the squash match, in my eyes. So
I think it establishes Bobby Lashley now as like it's starting to build him back towards being that killer that he was and that he's supposed to be.
Yeah, he should have been since day one, but they just made it and they made it worse with that whole Sami Zayn and the sisters and all that.
Yeah, that was stupid. That was stupid.
Yeah, and I think Vince finally realized he doesn't need Brock when he has Bobby. Bobby can be his Brock.
Yeah.
You know, and that's and fine. And you don't need to worry about having him part time. He's fine with being full time over the schedule he has right now.
Yeah.
You know? So on to the only women's title defense of the night, which is Bayley against Tamina, which ended up being obviously what we expected it. Bayley retaining.
I'm gonna go in a different direction with this one. I was actually a little impressed with this match because I didn't expect Tamina to be able to work the way she worked and to tell the story the way she told it. And I wasn't really a fan of Bayley's ring work as a heel, but I feel like she's really starting to come into her own now as a heel. And then along with like the Sasha Banks element and everything, it's like now Bayley as a heel is way more believable. And it's to a point now where I almost don't remember Bayley as a babyface. Like I see her strictly as a heel now. I like it. I like you remember Bayley because of the side ponytail and all that stuff, but I like this version of Bayley. Like, and it took me a minute to get there. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. It's like, okay, I'm digging this now. And her the way she's telling the story of like, you never saw Bayley as being like the slimy heel. That's what I mean. Like you never saw Bayley as being like she's gonna win on a roll up type of heel. And the fact that she's winning in like these really debaucherous almost kind of ways, it's like I forgot when Bayley put on a good match. Like this is terrible, but it's almost like what happened with the Miz, where it's like you hate him to the point where you gotta respect it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I'm at with Bayley.
Benny?
I like the match. I like it. One thing that it didn't rub me the wrong way. It just came off as odd is the fact that Tamina she wasn't a heel in this match. She's technically a face. And to me, Tamina can never be a face. She's just, I don't know. She's just like always come off as heel to me, and I don't really think I can see her as anything else.
Looking.
Yeah.
She's just mean looking. It's like
I say, it's not even so much like, all right, we can just she's typecast now, is what I'm thinking.
Mm-hmm.
She's typecast. The one thing that really, really irked me about this match is the same thing that irks me about every single Bayley match nowadays, is the fact that for whatever reason, this woman cannot just win a match. She has to win by roll-up. I swear, every single, with the exception of the WrestleMania match, because she actually did win with her finisher, if that's what you can call it. She's won since, I believe, since she turned heel and won the title back. She's won with a roll up, and I'm just like, dude, come on. Like, it's distraction roll up, distraction roll up, distraction roll up. She turned around and got somebody by the tights. It was a dirty pin. A heel doesn't always have to be a slimy heel.
Yeah.
And Bayley, even though she's basically portrayed as, the chicken shit heel, chicken shit heels get their wins off with their finishers. They can put somebody down every once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
And, you can sit up there and say, okay, she's the longest reigning SmackDown Women's Champion of all time. All you want. You're still making her look like shit. Like, Honky Tonk Man had the Intercontinental title for a really long time, and when the Ultimate Warrior took the belt off of him, he looked like shit. So, like I said, that's the one thing that irked me about it. It's just a matter of, I would rather than portray Bayley as being better than what they're actually showing her to be right now. It's kind of the same thing that they did, with Sami Zayn as the IC champ, but we'll get to that one too.
Yeah, this match, I knew it was going to happen. I liked the beginning of the match when it started. The confrontation, the way Bayley was talking to Tamina to start the match off. And then I like that. I thought it was good. The beginning, but again, the whole thing with Bayley. If you're gonna have her win cheesy with that roll up, at least have her grab tight to do something heelish, something to make you want to hate her. Like, oh, it's a roll up, that's it. So she won the roll up. No, she's like, oh, she won because she's holding tights. Oh, she won because her foot are on the ropes. She do something to make you like. Jay, you're right. She's putting on this heel rolls good, but by winning with the tights or with the foot, it takes a little further. It adds more to it. You know?
Yeah.
That's what they need to do. They need to allow her to do that. The roll-up, I'm okay with, but you got to add the tights or the foot on the ropes to make you want to hate her more. Say, oh, she can't win unless she's doing this or doing that. Because right now she's like, you're winning with the roll-up. Okay, it's a clean win, but it's not. But if you add like I said, if you add the tights or the ropes, it's like, can she win without doing that? Can she? Can she not?
It reminds me a lot of what they did with Alexa Bliss when she first won the SmackDown Women's title. But even with that, she still won with that sucker punch every now and again. You're right. She won with a signature or something every blue moon, and it's every time she has a quote unquote major match, it's oh, roll up.
And see, here's the thing.
So, I get it.
With Bliss, you can all right, she's smaller. Okay, she's got it. She's got to do all that. You know what I'm saying? So you can be even if you hate her, you can say I get it. She's smaller. She's got to do all that stuff. But Bayley, who should be doing this to get more heat, come on, let her do it. Give it to her.
Yo, it's to the point now. I was gonna say, it's to the point now. I'm not even gonna front and act like I play 2K20 because I don't. But I feel like if 2K20 was to ever have a mass update where they updated movesets, I really believe that Bayley's finisher would be the surprise roll up.
I can see it. I definitely can see it. I just feel like she needs to add a little bit of Shayna Baszler NXT to her game. Not a lot, but that nastiness of give me a little working on one area of the body, a little bit of a stomp, almost like she's about to spit on somebody, and that slow walk around that she does. You get a little bit of that, then I think Bayley's got it. But just what she's doing right now, I like it, but she still's got to grow with it.
Yeah, it's a lot. I mean, she's doing good with it, but they got to let her grow some more. I'm not sure if it's her, the producers, or Vince, but she's come a long way, and this is for her because she's never played a heel. She's always been a face. So I'm cutting her some slack, and I'm sure you guys are too as well.
Absolutely.
And I'm fine with that. It's just certain little things that needs to be picked up so we can hate them. That's it. So.
Listen,
going on.
Falling up here is crazy, bro.
Going on to the next match, which is the the Universal title, which was Braun versus Bray Wyatt. How do I say this? I think we had a better concept and idea for where this match should have gone than how it went through. And I'm glad they didn't try and do a Firefly Funhouse type deal with having with Cena. Because
don't overdo that.
If they're going to do that, let Bray do it. WWE should not put their hands in it. Let Bray do it because the way he did it was perfect. If you let somebody else get their hands in it, it's going to look different. This match had potential, and at one point, it caught my interest when Braun came out with the mask. And that's what caught my interest. And I was like, I'm peaked now. That's what I'm saying. And then again, also at the end, I was waiting for the lights to go out and for the Fiend to show up behind Braun.
Mm-hmm.
For them to just brawl out, but it never happened. So I don't know how I feel about it right now, to be honest. Like it left you wanting, but it kind of left me a little like you could have done better. You know, you could have done better. I like the way it ended, but because you like I said, like they've learned, and I think they know the Fiend and Bray is kind of like Finn Balor and the Demon.
Mm-hmm.
You can't bring out the Demon to have him lose, but you can bring Finn Balor out and he can lose. Same thing with Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt could lose. The Fiend can't.
Right.
You know? So I like the way they worked this out. So this is still going to be carrying on. Let's see where this goes. What are your thoughts, Jay?
I just feel like the only thing that comes to mind when I look at this match is missed opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Because it wasn't bad by any stretch of the imagination.
Mm-hmm.
It was a fine match. I like the storytelling. I like where they went with it. But it's like when you go to a restaurant, you order a dish, you don't really know what to expect and you try it, but then you taste it and you're like, it's like one or two ingredients away from being mind-blowing.
Exactly.
That's kind of where, and it's like you finish it, you eat it, you finish it, you're satisfied, but it's like, would you get it again? I mean, maybe if you came for brunch, like if you didn't see anything better, maybe you'd want it. But it's like this had the potential to be like this could set up the next year of the Universal title picture versus like, oh, this will probably go to the next pay-per-view, maybe. But this has the potential to be overkill because of how they played it safe. I guess is the best way I'm trying to put it. They really played it safe. They gave you a little bit with the Bray Wyatt, with the black sheep mask thing, but they played it too safe for me. That was really it.
Oh, here goes Betty. Here goes Betty.
Hold on, I gotta get comfortable. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
I gotta get.
No, you ain't even got to get comfortable for it. You know, because this isn't going to be long. Do you know what this match reminded me of? Do you all remember Dennis Green?
Mm-hmm.
Do you all remember Dennis Green the night after they lost to the Chicago Bears? This match was what I thought it was. It was a way to extend this feud and just get to the Fiend.
We are who they thought they are.
Okay, I get the reference now. Okay.
I'm sitting here. I'm watching the match, and I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm in my little Peter Griffin type mood right now, where you know what really grinds my gears is when wrestlers become freaking stupid. And the moment that Braun Strowman showed up on the side of the, when he rose on the side of the ring and he was wearing the black sheep mask, I was just like, yeah, this isn't going to go over the way Bray wants it to. So why are you celebrating? Stop it. This is the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. And I'm just sitting here and I'm waiting and I'm waiting and I'm waiting, and he takes the mask off. And it wasn't even something that was like, surprise, bitch. It wasn't one of them, right? It was literally like, I'm taking my mask off. I'm throwing it on the floor. I stomp on it. Raw. No. All right. No.
Yeah.
Give me more than that. Give me something a little more intelligent than that. And like I said, that's one of the things that honestly aggravates me about WWE booking. They want to play everything as safe and as simple as possible at times, and this shit pisses me the fuck off. But like I said, we knew where this match was going to go. The moment that they said it was basic Bray and it wasn't the Fiend, it was just like either like you know good and well that at some point Fiend has to make an appearance in this, and the moment that Strowman won and Bray is sitting there in the corner and they do that quick flash, you know it's coming. So that's going to be the next thing that shows up. It's exactly what I thought it would be.
I feel like this match, crazy to say, would have benefited from a DQ. Because if someone would have lost it and just kept going, and then it would have been a DQ, and then it would have been like Bray, like when Bray fought Seth Rollins and he was laughing, and like you kept hitting him and Bray just kept laughing, like you want to hurt me, blah blah. Like that's what I wanted for this match. Where it's like I want you to make me feel pain and blah blah. Like I wanted that kind of Hannibal Lecter Bray Wyatt. I didn't want the cult leader Bray Wyatt.
Do you remember the Seth Rollins feud when Rollins magically found his way to the Firefly Funhouse, and in the midst of him attacking Bray gets up and he's just like, Seth, why are you doing this?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I would have loved a moment like that between Bray and Braun. Because
it makes more sense between them. Like storytelling wise, stuff like those things make more sense. And then you add the puppets and the trinkets and all that other stuff. But I mean, I would have loved for him to like put the mask on and then Bray's like laughing, and then there's like a table in the corner and like the then he turns around, Braun's not there, and the mask is on the floor and he's like, what? Huh? And then gets power slammed through like the table or something like that. And he's just on the floor like, why did you need to hurt me? I was the one that brought you here, blah, blah, blah. Or for him to come out as like old Bray Wyatt. Instead, like you see the Firefly Funhouse like theme song come on, and then he comes out with like the Hawaiian shirt and stuff like that. Like those little details would have been great for this match.
That's what I'm saying. I think we had better ideas individually for what this match could have been in regards to what came about.
Yeah.
It's okay. So me and my girl, when we used to go out to eat before all this COVID-19, we go out to eat, we get a dish. The thing she brought up, we have now is it a repurchase? So going back to what you said, when you go out to eat at a restaurant, you see something you like, you're like, oh, that looks pretty good. You're ready for it, and then when you taste it, you're like, is it a repurchase? This match looked good, and the possibilities were out there for what they could do with this because of the history these two had. And it just left you, to me, it left me wanting. There were so many ways they could have done it, and I think they didn't do it right. I'm not sure if it was on purpose or somebody just completely dropped the ball. We'll have to wait and see what happens on SmackDown, and if they pursue how they're going to pursue this, because now they're going to play the long game, because apparently SummerSlam, they're trying to move it to somewhere where they can have fans,
they're also trying to move it back.
Yeah.
To September.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens, It's a long way. But going on to the next match, Drew McIntyre versus Seth Rollins. I mean, I think we all agree on the winner on this one because of the fact it's been too soon to have Drew drop this belt, and he needs a long run with this belt. We need a champion to have a long run with the belt that's going to be on TV. That cannot be Seth Rollins.
Right.
Yeah.
And Drew is the one to have it. I don't know if I'm okay with him being the face, or if I would rather have him be the heel.
I think if they would have played up his face run like they did in NXT, which is, I think they're trying, like the whole sexy Scott thing, like that whole thing is stupid, and that's what's killing Drew for me. Drew as like this warrior type of person where he's just calling people out, where he's just like, you know what, anybody want it, come get it, like he did in NXT. That's the face Drew I want to see, not the, oh, I'm a sexy Scott, I'm a pretty man, blah 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 blah. Like you're trying to make him Shawn Michaels, but like they're trying to fix the Diesel thing, and it's like he's not Diesel. He's not.
It's Vince.
Like Diesel. It's just like, stop it. Like, just let Drew be Drew. Let Drew be like, I like the stuff that he's doing where it's like, whenever he's out and they're doing promos, he's like in his face, he's clowning on people and all that. Like, I love the stuff that he's doing. It's just when he keeps talking about himself being sexy, it kind of kills the whole thing for me. Like, that's all it is. And it's like, I almost want to see him in a, like, I want to see him in a big man feud, because it's like, yeah, Seth was cool, and it was like watching like what you wanted from Big Cass fighting like a younger Seth Rollins, or like Dolph Ziggler, like Big Cass and Dolph Ziggler, if they had a match, like that's what you would expect from it. And I think that's just like, it was a very technically good match that may have benefited from a little crowd reaction. But it wasn't anything overly spectacular. It's like two good workers go out there. It's a championship match. Put on a great match. Shake hands after. Go your separate ways. Like that's again, a lot of ingredients, a lot of like really good things, but the execution at the end was just like boiled chicken. That's what it kind of felt like. Like, you need to eat stuff to put on weight, to gain mass, but it doesn't necessarily taste good. But it gets the job done. It's very bland, like, very, very, very salt and pepper.
Betty?
I'm going to say, let me say a couple of things about this. All of us over the last year have been critical of Seth Rollins, but us being critical of Seth Rollins has not been because of Seth Rollins' ring work. It's been because of his Twitter game. It's not really saying a whole lot, but this was definitely match of the night.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And I'm saying it's not saying a whole lot because it didn't have a whole lot of competition. But like I said, I really, really enjoyed this match. I'm going to say that I would have rather the ending spot have been a false finish that they had put somewhere in the middle. But because of the fact that the Claymore is like this super protected finisher right now, no one is going to kick out of that right now. I would have just loved to have seen that spot where Drew hits the Glasgow Kiss, Seth comes back with the super kick, and then Drew just rebounds with the Claymore. That's how they finished it. I would have loved that had been a double down spot. Two of them are down. Neither one of them can make the pin, or around the time when they finally stop protecting the Claymore as much as they are, you have the spot like that, and Seth kicks out at 2. I love the fact that there's one of the things that's starting to build with Drew McIntyre is the longer the match goes on, the more punishment he takes, he starts to get more and more pissed off, and he starts kicking out of shit that he really shouldn't be kicking out of.
Like the stomp.
We're 2/3 of the way into the match, and this guy's kicking out at 1. Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Like, there's a good way and a bad way to do that, and right now they're actually pulling it off to the way that that actually is. It's entertaining. Whereas, if you had done it slightly differently, it could end up coming off the wrong way and coming off as something that's like, this is bullshit. But this actually coming off as something that's good. So, like I said, I like where we're going with McIntyre. I really, 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 really wish that we had crowds around right now that could actually react to this dude, because we're going to look back, 10, 15 years from now, where COVID is just another event in history, and we're going to look at this time where we're going to see how, like, well, all of these highlights of Drew McIntyre as a WWE champion, he's not getting any reaction because we have these empty arena shows, so there's no real way to gauge him versus other champions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
When you have this giant asterisk known as COVID-19 causing this, causing this problem that we have right now. And again, the no crowd thing it's minuscule in the grand scheme of things, the big picture and all the other stuff. We understand exactly what I'm just speaking from a wrestling perspective.
I mean, from a sports perspective, you can look at it because as much as people try to downgrade that, like, oh, you can still play sports without a crowd. Yes, but any sports fan of any entertainment fan understands the value of the audience and how much it plays such an immense impact. It's like people are talking about playing NFL games without a crowd. It's like, is it really going to be the same?
That's going to be surreal.
No, it's not. That takes home field advantage away. The whole point of home field advantage when you at home at an NFL game is the home crowd getting so loud, the visiting team can't hear the snap count, and you got what's that called? False
game.
False starts, delay games. You got all those flags coming in. You have all that. If you don't have a crowd, you're not going to have that. There's no point. You might as well just play a neutral field at that point.
Mm-hmm. And that you can kind of equate that to now, who do you know that's what's getting over? You don't know really what's getting over because now you have to gauge it for the TV ratings when in reality, TV ratings for WWE shouldn't even be a factor anymore because no one watches this stuff live anymore.
Yep.
No one watches this stuff live. I know I don't. I watch playbacks. I watch the YouTube views. I watch whatever stuff comes up on Facebook. I watch the digital platforms way more than I would ever watch it live.
Yeah.
Because no one wants to sit through the commercials. No one wants to sit through all the gimmicks. They've oversaturated it with propaganda at this point. So it's no one wants to sit through it. Let me just see the match. Or let me watch it on WWE Network where it's at least the commercials are within the realm of the content.
Mm-hmm.
And not I'm watching SmackDown and they're advertising March Madness or the next NFL game. It completely breaks the mood. And then again, if a crowd's hot, every match seems better. You can look back and look at some terrible matches, but because the crowd was so hot, these matches look amazing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's now you can't gauge it. How do you get a guy like the way John Cena got over? That can't happen now.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying in the beginning. I don't know which one I'd rather have, a face Drew or a heel Drew with the title. Because you don't have an audience to gauge the pop or the boos or the negative pop that he would get when he comes in with that belt, either or. Everybody liked Drew, but depends on how you look at him as a face or a heel, how much of a pop he's going to get.
Yeah.
A good pop in NXT.
And it's how much of a heel, how much is heel Seth Rollins working? Because again, even before everything happened, he wasn't necessarily getting booed, but he wasn't getting cheered either.
No, I think
he was getting muddled. He was getting muddled to no reaction.
Yeah.
So, how do you gauge that? How do you put that into a situation where it's okay, this is working for Seth, this isn't working for Seth. I think that's the only reason why the Messiah gimmick is working is because there's no crowd.
Yeah.
But it's who's to say that would have gotten over and he wouldn't have found something in the crowd noise and in the crowd reaction that could have made the Messiah thing better.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know. So, there definitely is going to be a documentary on this in 5-10 years.
Oh yeah.
Because it's because that's the only way you're going to be able to gauge it now. You have to look back on it based on how crowds return to WWE. What is the fallout for this? How is this even going to affect things going long term?
Have you guys been watching AEW?
No.
So Tony Khan came up with a indiscreditable genius plan. He has faces and heels sitting out in the crowd. So depending on what goes on, they're gonna react. They're their own fans, pretty much. Now you even have like heels like betting on who's gonna win the match. Like they're actually making bets. You know what I'm saying?
That's interesting. It's interesting because it's basically talking smack but outside.
Exactly. You know, and you can actually create storylines from those matches. Like you can have anybody just fight, and then like a storyline begins because one wrestler's fighting and he runs into somebody that's on the sidelines, and they get into an argument, and that starts to fuel the storyline. You know, that's something WWE maybe should look at. I mean, they should have done before. You have talent. You have a massive talent. Just put them out there. You have people that are probably standing and doing nothing, waiting for them to do. Put them in the crowd. Make them work. Make them do something. You know. Regards to this match now, going back to this match, it was a good match. I mean, Rollins always puts on a good match with like almost anybody he's with.
I don't have a pin. I had to reach.
But yeah, no, you can't be having all these good ideas, Paul.
I know.
You know it doesn't work.
Sorry, but yeah, this is another match that would definitely could use a crowd. For it, and I agree with Benny. It's sad to say this is the best night of the match, but unfortunately, it's crazy. But there was no competition. You know, by default, it wins match of the night. I like where it's going. I want to see where it's going to go next, though, or if this is it. After Monday Night Raw, it felt like it was it. That was it, which I hate because now you're having him in short bursted feuds, and I don't like that because now you're kind of because we're gonna look back at Drew's run and it's like he didn't have a significant feud.
Well, I think they're getting ready to start building towards one, and I think your end goal with what's about to happen is McIntyre versus Lashley.
Yeah,
that's a good one. That's a good one, and that should be the one because of the fact if you look at the titles, who has the IC? IC's up for
it's up for grabs now.
Yeah, so you can have Lashley go for that, win it, and you're like, okay, I have the IC title, so I should be number one contender for the main belt.
Right.
Oh wait, he's in Raw. It's just US. My fault.
That's Andrade has it.
Yeah, so that's not gonna happen anytime soon because he's a heel. But no, that's got to be the push, Bobby. It's got to be a slow, good push. They can't be.
They have to push him to the forefront, and I honestly think what they should do in this situation, you have to get the U.S. title off of Andrade. You have to start to build him up, and you have to have him feud with Drew for a little while.
Yeah.
While you prep Lashley and you slow burn, you let him simmer, and until you get to the point where he can actually step in there and be that next guy. So unfortunately, I know. So unfortunately, right now it's looking to me honestly like you have to either put the U.S. title on Humberto, or you have to stop burying Ricochet, Cedric Alexander, and you have to put the belt on one of them.
You've got to do a U.S. Open Classic. Like that's what this has to turn into.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to do it in such a way that either a rando, like somebody really random, beats Andrade for the title due to nefarious purposes, like someone interferes and helps somebody else win the title, and that puts him in a different feud to help build him for the world title. That's the only thing I can think of. And then you can have one of the minions from Selena's little whatever Los something they were calling it on Twitter. They call it LOS or whatever it is. Since Austin Theory's going, you can have Angel Garza go after that champion, and then you have Angel Garza versus whomever for the U.S. title, and let Andrade go over and do other things.
Yeah, I honestly just like speed book this junk in my head. What's the name? Over the past couple of weeks, minus, the build towards Seth Rollins, McIntyre has basically just been running rampant all over that group. He's beaten Andrade. He's beaten Angel. I don't know if he's beaten Angel Garza, but I know he's beating the shit out of Angel Garza. The same thing with Austin Theory. So just take it like this. McIntyre's he's riding high right now. He didn't beat everybody that's been put in front of him. He beat Big Show. He beat Andrade. He beat everybody else in that group. Now he's beating Seth Rollins. All right. Andrade, because of the fact that he'd have lost to him again, it's just like we're not doing this. I'm better than him. I can beat him. Right. As a matter of fact, I'll tell you what. I'm gonna go out here. I'm gonna challenge any 5 people. Put me in a gauntlet match for this U.S. title. Andrade goes out there. He wins 4 out of the 5 matches. Whoever the 5th person is comes out there. They win the title off him. And, I mean, they win the title off him on some roll-up sneak shit. So that's how you basically keep him strong in the thing so he doesn't just get flat-out beat.
Well, if you're going to do that, then it to me, the person that would make the most sense would be Buddy Murphy.
I'd like it. It would also play to Seth Rollins.
Yeah, and to me, Buddy Murphy more than proved that he can carry a title when he elevated the cruiserweight title to being interesting. Because I watched all of those matches.
Yeah,
those were incredible matches.
Yeah,
that's what I said. The way I was basically putting it is like that way you can undo all of the losses that Andrade has had and get the belt off of him. And because of the fact that WWE right now has a no rematch thing, no automatic rematch, now you don't have to worry about booking, Andrade going back after that belt. Now you can have Buddy Murphy do something with that belt and make, besides just sitting up there losing all of the damn time under Seth Rollins. Now Andrade is just like, you see, it took all of this, all of these people to beat me. I could come after you, Drew. This is what we're going to do. I'm coming after your title now.
You mean Zelina? Shouldn't say all this because this man can't form that many sentences. Yeah, he can't form that many sentences unless he just goes off on him in Spanish, a la Oscar, and then it turns into just him going off in Spanish and only a certain amount of the populace, and Selena Vega's basically like, okay. Basically, he can beat you anytime he wants to, and blah blah. And you have Selena start chirping off at the mouth because Selena's back and forth with Drew McIntyre is great. I love it, and you can just play up that dynamic. So I mean, again, that's it. And I think too with Drew's run, I think that they're kind of counting this time for him. They're trying to see what works because it's basically a wash. It's going to be a wash. Because once the crowds come back, they got to start from scratch.
They better start from scratch with Drew. Fuck all that. We're not going to sit there and wash him.
No, but I mean, I'm talking about this time. They're going to be like, okay, cool. We did all this work. Now we have all this stuff built in so that when the crowds come back, it's like you already have something going and you don't have to do what AEW did to try and we have to formulate stuff and put it in front of crowds and blah, blah, blah. And you already have it set in. So it's you guys don't miss a step, but now you get to see what it's like with the crowd reactions.
I mean, I like the Andrade part because it goes back, even though they have they were speaking about the bicep injury and all that stuff. They mentioned it. They brought it up. So I like that. They're actually using continuance.
There you go. Continuity. I know it's late, guys, but
yes, 2:30 in the morning.
2:30. Using continuity.
One more match. We got one more match.
It's a great thing when you use continuity and how it works out for you. So I think it's a good idea if Andrade drops the belt to whoever may be, and I agree. Murphy showed he can carry a belt and he can carry a damn division with the 205. He put on some damn heck of a matches in them pre-shows with the 205 belt. And then you build Bobby on the back end. Andrade's gonna just have a little feud with you can have Andrade lose it in this next baby pay-per-view, whatever they're gonna have, and then start a feud within a few weeks with Drew. going into SummerSlam, since SummerSlam being pushed back into September. During that time, you can build Bobby, like you guys were saying, to be a monster, just going through like everybody. And then this is the thing that he could do. He can fight whoever has the U.S. title, and he's like, you don't put the belt on the line. I just want to show that I can beat you on my way to Drew.
Mm-hmm.
It shows that like he doesn't care about that belt. He wants the main belt. He's like, I want to fight you to show I can beat you, and I don't even want to win the belt. I just want to beat you just so I can go over to the next title.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just to kind of build and if people are paying attention here what he's saying, that's going to slowly build the feud towards Drew.
Mm-hmm.
In the long run, you want the Bobby Drew feud to come and play the long game a little bit.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
So that's what I think that should happen. Can it happen? We don't know. Will it happen? I doubt it that way because of the fact it's Vince and it's WWE, and we know how they do sometimes. But yeah, I think Drew is missing the pop of the crowd to see how much he actually gets over. I mean, he can get over with the crowd, but it's just how much with the character he's doing right now.
Yeah.
You know, we want to be close to Diesel type, repackaged type ideal, which I'm on the fence on it, to be honest.
Yeah.
Hope they clean up when the crowds come back. We'll see where they go. You know. So let's go on to this is what threw us off because they weren't too specific on how these matches, both Money in the Bank matches, are going to go. They said simultaneously, but we thought it was going to be during the pay-per-view because they weren't specific. They were around. So they actually had both of them running simultaneously at the end as the main event. So I thought it was funny when they presented each one of them. I felt like it was a damn video game.
Yeah, that's what it really would have felt like. It felt like one of the backstage brawls and like No Mercy.
Yeah, damn video game. And then Oscar's like, where's Oscar? She comes out, drops from like the second floor. Bam, everybody takes the elevator. I'm like, there's more than one elevator there. It's like I think I see 3 elevators there. Yeah, I didn't play that right. I'm like, oh.
It was definitely foreshadowing.
Yep.
Yeah, I did like. There's a lot of spots that I like. They did the whole AJ was a comedy act during this whole damn thing.
Yes,
he was. He was a good sport about it too, though. I gotta give that to him. The whole thing.
I feel like he was really having fun with this. Like this one looked like it was just fun for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, like you couldn't help but enjoy it. But there were just a couple of things in there. I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
The food fight. I mean, they really still got to do food fights.
It's Otis, so I mean, that's why it doesn't bother me because it's Otis.
Yeah, but you have
like
material with Johnny Ace.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Here's my thing about the food fight setup. Why the hell? Okay, social distancing aside, why in any amount or in any kind of logic can you come up with a reason for why Paul Heyman was by himself with a buffet's worth of food?
Because they're playing up the ECW Paul Heyman and Paul Heyman being a fat ass.
It's not even just like, it's not even me trying to like joke or something like that. Now I'm not trying to throw fat jokes out there. I'm just like,
I am.
What the hell is he doing out here aside from setting up for a damn food fight? That's literally it. I mean, all of this food, if you combined it together, you would have 2 more Paul Heymans.
I feel like they should have just gotten a fatter wrestler. Honestly, they should have just gotten a fatter wrestler. That's what it. I mean, Rikishi would have been funny there, though. It would have been hilarious.
So
I just think because again, Paul Heyman is available. It's an availability thing. Like he's already working the shows, so he's there. And then you can kind of like, because of the fact that he's most recently with Brock and he's been most recent in everyone's forefront of memory, like Paul Heyman still has this thing where it's like, don't do anything to me or else I'm going to get my guy. And then for someone like Otis to be the one to do the spot, it's like, so is Brock going to attack Otis or like what's going to happen? That's kind of where I'm at with it.
You know what actually would have been funny in this situation? And this is going to the whole cameos and things that were going in there. Mm-hmm. Now, mind you, I know he would not have done it. I know he wouldn't have done it. But if you're going to have Heyman in that situation, put Brock there too. Please. Because it does two things. It's like, it puts him in a situation that you don't normally see him in, to the point where at this point it kind of sort of is going to humanize him a little more. And the other thing it does is it kind of sort of fucks with us. It puts it in our mind, oh my God, Brock Lesnar is around during the Money in the Bank again. Please, God, don't let this happen. So that way, at that point, where whatever, Otis gets the briefcase at the end of it, it's just like, oh, this is another breath of fresh air. It's the fact that, we don't have to deal with, a rehash in Corbin, the safe bet in AJ. We actually get something that we can actually build off of with Otis, and Brock doesn't have it. Like, we got teased with it, but he doesn't have it.
Right.
Yeah. The whole AJ Undertaker was good. I loved it. Yeah.
I loved it.
I liked it because it was still fresh, so it still brought like he's still like traumatized by it. You know what I'm saying? So I like that. I like that whole spot. The funniest
I like
one.
the fact that it was Aleister Black that kicked him. Like not like the little like the little sprinkle where you're
that was real subtle. That was real subtle.
Here, guys.
We've said it a couple of times, the Black Undertaker thing, passing the torch from one to the other, and then you got also Aleister Black.
And then also it was foreshadowing for later on that night. And what I'm hearing now is a changing gimmick.
For who?
Black.
Oh God.
No. It's no. What they're doing is they're trying to make him more of a deity, and less of what he like the corny crap he is now since he's been called up. They're trying to mystify him a little more and not do the "someone come knock on my door." That.
Oh
crap.
yeah, that.
They're trying to make him more of a deity, like more of a wink, wink, more of an Undertaker kind of character.
Yeah, there was the one with AJ and Daniel Bryan going to Vince McMahon's office.
That was hilarious.
That was
The thing that got me is why is Daniel Bryan bowing? Like it's like the ultimate like Karate Kid bow. Like I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry.
The funny part got me was when AJ goes to Daniel Bryan, let's fix the chairs.
Yeah.
And they fix the chairs and they leave and they like talking about who's more scared. And Daniel was like, you were more scared because you wanted to come by and fix the chairs.
One of the other things that I was hearing about that is the fact that Vince honestly makes people, whenever they're meeting with him, put the chairs back the way that the way they found them. That's one of his little quirky rules and stuff. Mm-hmm. So you're starting to see with him, in a couple of different situations, the Firefly Funhouse match with the good shit actually being allowed to go through. And now you got this with the whole chair quirk and everything. It's one of those things, even being, listening to Steven Larson, the yellow notepad, that is where he does all of his work that he was working on. So you're starting to see like stuff, the veil starting to be pulled back a little bit when it comes to Vince McMahon. He's starting to, I want to say, accept the fact that he is like an internet meme. So that's one of the things I liked about it as well.
See, one of the things I liked about this match too, and it was so subtle because someone like Shayna Baszler looked so weird in this match.
Yeah.
She looked so out of place in this match. But like the one spot where like she's choking out Rey Mysterio and she has like this moment with Rey and then like backs up as soon as Rey gets like sandwiched by Nia Jax and Otis and she's just kind of looking like, oh all right, let me just walk away slow. Like that was a really cool spot because it's not something that you see Shayna do, but it's also a very Shayna thing to do at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't make her as goofy as I thought they were gonna make her, because like her running around was a little goofy, but it wasn't to a point where I'm like, all right, I don't believe her sinisterness anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean it's funny watching some of these people run because you don't see them run, so watching them is kind of a little hilarious.
And it's funny because a lot of them can't run. Like you notice a lot of people here can't run. Like they're terrible.
It's not that they can't run; it's their form is like weird. It's awkward.
They run like those people in the weird commercials. Where it's like it just looks so bad.
Yeah, I mean, I get why they did this. Doing without a crowd would be awkward, so you want to make it different.
Mm-hmm.
I like the idea. Execution, it's a different story.
Was a little spotty in places like the Asuka Baron Corbin thing. 0 cents. I know I'm gonna let you have yours, but that was one of the spots where I'm like, why are they fight? What? I don't understand. Like, at least give Asuka something to say, to like hint at like why they're fighting, because it's like you two, they're two briefcases. Why are you fighting each other? Like, this doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Like that was, and then the whole like the Nia Jax Otis thing was funny. Like their interactions with each other was funny. Anything Otis did to me, I felt like they used his character perfectly in specific spots.
Mm-hmm.
The only person that didn't really make sense to me was Aleister Black being in this match. Outside of the AJ spot, I'm like, huh? Like, why are you here? Right. That and the fact that he got thrown off the roof. Like him and Ray got thrown off the roof.
Let's get to it. So apparently people got thrown off the roof. And then to correct that statement, they weren't thrown off the roof. They were thrown off to the second level or second part of a roof that was a little lower.
Rash.
I forgot what Corbin or somebody said. It wasn't off.
There was a 6-foot roof, or there was a 6-foot drop to another roof that was down there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would
still trash. Still trash. Because like the way he threw them off, I'm like, huh? Like he just committed murder on TV. Like
Twice.
He just killed somebody. Twice. And I was expecting like the camera to pan out where you're like, and I wanted to see something like that happen.
Fatality.
Yep.
King Corbin wins. But yeah, it was actually ended up being Aleister Black and Rey Mysterio, which I understood Rey, but Black really, like
again, and I feel like that's where the idea of as soon as that happened and the match was over, he tweeted out it was kind of corny, I'm not gonna lie. It was a figure covered in a sheet saying something about haunting people, and I'm like, okay. I mean, it makes a little bit of sense why he did the spot with AJ if you're going to talk about haunting people. But it's like, okay, how are you going to do this? Like, how are we going to do this? That's all I want to know. How are we going to do this?
So I think
Ray's contract is about to run out.
Who's?
Ray.
Nah, Ray's contract doesn't run out until I think October. Is what the last thing I heard.
But I'm saying it runs out this year. Is what I'm saying. Yeah. So that's where I'm hearing rumors of him not re-signing.
No, because they apparently one thing he wanted to do was create like a Latino faction, and
they just never let him do it.
They never let him do it, like an LWO kind of type deal, and they never with it. But I thought it was funny with Otis trying to climb the ladder. He's breaking the damn ladder.
That was crazy. I'm like, wait, hold on. We've seen Nia Jax climb these ladders. I think we had Big Show in a ladder match at some point, but Otis is the one that breaks the ladder.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Asuka winning. What did you guys feel about Asuka winning?
2 things. One, I've heard from multiple different places. And this is like I said, they're people like us. Asuka in the no fans era, as they're calling it right now, MVP. She's going out there
Yeah.
doing her absolute damnedest to keep everybody entertained. So, to be honest, her winning the Money in the Bank and eventually what the Money in the Bank became afterwards, which we'll touch on in a second, completely deserved. Now, the way Asuka won is a completely different story.
Exactly.
Why in the blue hell? Number one, did it take the elevator 3.5 hours to get from the bottom floor, not even to the roof? Number two, why in the blue hell are Asuka and Baron Corbin fighting each other? For that matter, why in the blue hell are these two matches interacting with each other at all? You two aren't competing against you. It's just happening at the same time. That was one of the things that was irking me about this match was the fact that they sat up there, the whole food fight thing ended up happening, and then you got Shayna choking out Ray, and I'm just like, okay, that's a badass spot, and you knew that somebody was going to interact at some point, but this is of no benefit to you. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the biggest thing about this match.
Up at the end of it, of course, you have the finale to it where Lacey and Nia, they're fighting over there. They're trying to get up to the top, and then Asuka finally makes her way up there. She gets near the top of the ladder. She starts reaching for her briefcase, and next thing you know, Baron Corbin comes running out, and he's just like, no, what? She's grabbing her, you dumbass.
Yeah, that was annoying.
I swear.
Why? Like,
that's all you kept asking the whole time. I was like, why is this happening?
And here's the problem, because Baron is not that bad. I like Baron. I just think the way they write him is annoying. But I personally like Baron. I like him. It's just the way they write him sometimes is annoying. I don't know if that was him accidentally doing that or if they wrote it out for him to do that. Because of Baron, I want to say they wrote him out to do that.
I'm pretty sure they wrote him out to do that, especially because of the nature of the match. I don't believe that he would that's something that they're cutting, they're editing. I'm sitting up here and I'm looking at it. I'm like, there's no way. There's no way that this match is gonna go like this. And it went 100% the way that I saw it. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. Why do people get written to be fucking idiots?
Yeah.
Because it's Vince. He wants to make somebody look like an idiot so people can laugh. Crowd of one.
Looking stupid is not the only way to get a laugh out of somebody, man.
I mean, again, my only real issue with the finishes is, okay, Asuka won. My first question was, and it's like, then why did Becky retain? Why did Becky retain?
I don't think she knew at the time.
No.
Oh no, apparently
I don't think she knew
at the time. No, it came out. She wrestled while being pregnant.
She wrestled pregnant.
Yeah.
She was pregnant.
Yeah.
So,
Which
I mean,
I was gonna say because of the fact that if we go back to the match, it makes sense where like Becky was not in control of that match, and she won just by a roll up.
Yeah.
Because if you look at that match again, it makes sense. It was not complete taxing on her body.
Right.
Not one.
And Shayna wasn't as vicious as usual.
Right.
At all.
The only viciousness was when she twirled her around and hit her against the commentator's desk, and even then, it was more towards like the head, and she protected herself by going like this. So it wasn't that vicious. So that's what I'm saying. I was gonna bring that up during the announcement she made on Raw. But yeah, it's stupid. It makes you wonder. She knew, but did anybody else know? And at that point, you should just let Shayna won that match, and let somebody else get into this place of Shayna, and let Becky ride off into the sunset after losing, and be like, I want to rebuild myself, or whatever it is.
Right. That was my whole thing, and then the way Otis won reminded me a lot of how John Morrison and Miz retained in that ladder match.
Yep.
And that's what made me angry, because it was just like, why are we doing these finishes now? Like, why are they because again, the whole thing about Money in the Bank, it was about reaching up and grabbing it and taking it. Not, oh my gosh, I accidentally caught it because I'm the first person to come down. And it's you're using the technicality in the match as a finish, and it's like this is really making me not like Money in the Bank at all.
Here's the best part: how is AJ Styles going to slip or let the briefcase slip out of his hands when he's wearing gloves?
What's slippery? Like what? I don't. It doesn't.
And they're
I don't
supposed
know how the wide receivers drop passes when they're wearing gloves.
Well, again, the briefcase wasn't being thrown at you at like 70 miles an hour. So I mean,
it was slippery.
Yeah, but I think those are like Newman type gloves that are re-imaged for him because they look like Newman gloves.
it's just that was the whole front, and it's like, okay, Otis winning, it's interesting. But then when you hear about like an interview that he did on the Bump a week before, he's like, yeah, I'm gonna use it to cash in on the tag titles, and it's like, so we're not using this for singles pushes anymore.
I don't think you can use it for anything but singles titles.
No, technically you can use it for whatever title you want. It doesn't specify which title.
No, it doesn't. It just says
never has.
You're entitled to a title match.
Yeah.
So he can go to
any time you're choosing.
Or 205 if you want it. And go for those.
Technically, he couldn't go to 205.
Well, he's overweight for that. He can't.
He couldn't. But I mean, if you meant the weight, he could have gone for that.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah.
You know.
So it's one of those situations where it's like, yeah, and then it looked at. I'm like, okay, the New Day keeping it. Does the New Day have a title match coming up? Would Otis actually like cash in with Tucker? Because again, it would keep him in the tag team. It would have him burn off the title thing. I mean, burn off the Money in the Bank. Keep his Money in the Bank thing kind of, to a minimum. But putting the title on him actually would elevate both him and Mandy at that point.
Here's the thing that here's how I think they're going with it. I should rather say, Otis is going to lose his briefcase at some point, whether the briefcase is stolen or the briefcase is won off of him by some crazy heel.
Or I don't know. Somebody coming back.
Yeah, I could honestly see okay, Vince looking like, all right, we're going to give Otis the win because of the fact that I know the fans love Otis. I kind of love Otis at the same time. But Otis is not main event singles match material right now. If ever. Because you look at Otis, you see comedy and you see heavy machinery.
Yeah.
Outside of that, what is it?
Yeah.
So I honestly think Vince is gonna have AJ or he's gonna have Baron Corbin be like, all right, listen, no, you don't deserve this. We were the ones that were fighting over this mess, and you won this by accident. You need to put that on the line right now, and then some way, somehow, shenanigans, whatever. One of them is gonna get the briefcase off of them.
I mean, personally, I would love for it to be that whoever wins the Intercontinental title match, the tournament, Otis comes out and cashes in on them.
That would be hilarious.
It would be hilarious because it's like it's the most non-Otis thing to do, but it would be dope if it was like you hear Mandy like trying to talk him into it almost, and then him doing it because Mandy talked him into it, and it's almost like that Sable kind of character where like Sable just kind of slings her way around and kind of like manages and controls people in X, Y, and Z. And it opens up the possibility for like, because let's say Jey Uso is by himself, he's not doing anything. Naomi's still kind of there. It's like, Jey Uso isn't going to win the title, but it would be cool to see them in a singles competition for a title so that like the guys who aren't necessarily the face of their tag team get a little bit of shine. Like a little bit, or like an Otis versus Big E, and then you kind of add the different tag team element to the mid card that is dreadful right now.
Yeah.
So I mean, again, you can use it to build two divisions at the same time, But then you might as well just give me the pen for that because that's actually something smart that you could do.
Yeah.
You know.
I got one more nitpick before we go to anything else.
Go ahead.
Now, granted, I'm sorry. This nitpick is actually twofold. One, what the hell was that doink? Because that was not doink. In any way, shape, or form.
I don't know.
That was not Doink the Clown. That was some guy with face paint on.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That was it.
Isn't Doink the actual Doink the Clown dead?
Yeah.
I think he died.
How many? I don't know how many different people have played Doink, but I believe the original is dead.
Yeah, the original one is dead.
The other thing is Stephanie. I don't mind seeing Stephanie. I actually fully expected to see Stephanie and probably Shane too. My thing is, granted, I know social distancing, but don't all of them live in Connecticut? Why was she not there?
What do you mean? Why was she not
Stephanie.
There?
That was green screen. That wasn't her. That was cut.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I don't know what that was about. I don't know. I don't know what that was about.
Like it was literally one of those things where it was hard. It was jarring too because you have these HD cameras that are going around, and when it cuts to Stephanie, it's like hours. Like it's just,
it wasn't well done at all. But
no,
that whole spot didn't make sense to me because it's like at that point then you knew Dana Brooke wasn't going to win for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
That was a bad spot to put her in.
That was a bad look for Dana in June.
And again, it's like she keeps talking about, I'm gonna make the best of my situation, blah blah blah, like trying to do the whole Ricky Steamboat thing, but it's like they're burying her and basically saying like, no, you're a joke, you're a jobber, stay in a jobber's place, and it's like,
especially with the way she got taken out of that.
Yeah, and it's like, so she's just gone, like she can't run to an elevator or anything. She's just stuck on the conference table, and that's it.
No. Well, no, because after that, they were running past the guy that was mopping the floor. Everybody else ran past perfectly fine. Dana slips, falls, and dies. That's how she got taken out. I think
I must have been like looking down when that happened because I was like,
it was quick.
There were certain spots in this match, and I'm like, that's, and it's like it's very like banana peel.
Mm-hmm.
To me, like that, it's that banana peel comedy, and I was like, it's no, like, just no.
I know. I didn't like the way the men's ended because of the fact the whole slippery slope.
Yeah.
It's very like do. It's very cartoonish.
Yeah.
That's what I didn't like about it.
I didn't like that at all. Yeah, I didn't like that at all. I want to see where they're gonna go with Otis. There's a lot of places they can go, but if he goes for the main title, either one of those, it's going to be a failed cash-in. And I hate when they do that. The whole point to me of Money in the Bank, I think, free, is a get it out of jail free card. It doesn't have to be the one that won it because they could end up losing it to the one who you want it to beat later on. Maybe you might want to switch. But that's your get out of jail free card. Because they tend to write themselves in a corner, so they need this.
Yeah, but I mean, too, I think it's interesting to think of the Money in the Bank being for a mid-card title. And I think that makes the mid-card titles a lot more interesting because we always think of the world titles, but right now you have it on Braun and you have it on Drew McIntyre. It would be interesting to see Otis approach them.
It would, but I don't think
have a segment with
I don't think it'll bring them to the light as you would want to expect it. It'll bring them about up front for a little bit, for a couple of weeks, maybe a few weeks. But once that's over, it's going to die down again because they don't do the mid-card titles justice like they should be.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's what we thought of Money in the Bank. That's the review. I mean, it was what it thought it was, like Dennis says. The endings were a little surprising. There's a little fun spots here and there. But what came out of it the next day, especially with the big news of Becky Lynch announcing that she was pregnant and then announcing that the Money in the Bank women's match was not for a contract to cash in whenever you want, but actually for the Raw Women's title was interesting. It was good. I liked it. And apparently, from what I hear, I don't know if you guys heard it too, Asuka had like no clue. Like
no, none of the women did.
No. So like they actually caught her genuine reaction to actually winning that belt.
Well, no. From what I understand, like she knew that she was going to end up with the belt afterwards because they had to at least tell her why she was giving up the briefcase. Where the genuine reaction that they got was the pregnancy announcement because she didn't know about that. What they told Asuka was, you can run around, you can do your celebrations, whatever it is that you want to do, but make sure you go back to the ring because we need you there for the end of the segment.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So, Becky's pregnant, and like we were mentioning before, apparently she knew she was pregnant by WrestleMania. Not sure if anybody else knew, but it seems like they might have, because if you go back and watch that match, it'll make a lot more sense knowing now that she was pregnant, and she was most likely pregnant during that match, why it ended up that way. She's going to be missed because of the fact that that's a heavy hitter right there for the women's division.
And they're already missing a lot of talent. Like, they just got Nia Jax back, but I think somebody else just got hurt or something like that.
Yeah, and that's the thing, you know. So it was a bad thing. It's bad timing. I mean, good for her and Seth. They're gonna have a baby. Congratulations to them. I just think, you know, it's too early to announce a pregnancy.
Well, I think she's 2 or 3 months pregnant, so she's about to start showing.
Okay. Yeah.
So she had to announce it now.
Okay.
And the upside to it is we didn't only, like, Becky Lynch is gone, and she's a heavy hitter. Like, she's another one of those staple brand people where it's like when The Rock went to Hollywood kind of situation. Because also Becky Lynch is doing other projects, so she's also pregnant, but she's doing other stuff. So even after pregnancy, she still may be going for an extended period of time.
Right.
But what I like is that, you know, when one door closes, another one opens. The Iconics came back Monday, which to me is huge, because if the Iconics win the tag titles, then that frees up another heavy hitter in Alexa Bliss.
Yeah.
So now you have another player in that mix.
The one thing that doesn't solve on the Raw side, though, is Alexa Bliss is technically a SmackDown superstar.
Right.
However, WWE, if you guys hadn't been, you know, following, have brought back the wild card.
Right.
It's not 100% called the wild card, but we know what the hell it is. It's the Cross Brand Invitational, where one superstar, you know, gets to come across for, you know, a match or something like that. So they could technically do it like that. And if some way, somehow, so let's say Asuka loses the title to Alexa Bliss or something like that, then they'll just be like, oh, well, Alexa Bliss is now on Raw now that she's Raw's champion and she can't take the belt over to SmackDown. Or if, you know, hypothetically, something like that. The other good thing to come out of that is, you know, like I said, that was probably the best segment I've seen on Raw in a long time.
And it was one of the first where it was a segment that led into a match, and it was done right.
Yeah, right. Was
you got to see. I'm going back to the beginning. So I'm going back to the beginning of it. You got to see Rebecca.
Yeah.
You got to see how much the industry, how much, you know, her journey through NXT and through the Performance Center and everything, how much all of that meant to her. Because all of us or whatever as fans, y'all know I've had my, you know, words about Becky Lynch's title run. I'm like I said, wasn't souring on Becky. I'm souring on Becky still being champion.
Yeah.
as it was because of the fact I'm like, she sat up here and she's basically wiped the floor with the entire division. You had the perfect opportunity to build, a great rivalry for this championship with Sasha Banks, and you just had her lose 2 matches, and I'm just like, come on. So at that point, it was just like, this is starting to become like really stupid, and it started to become stale on me or whatever. But like I said, that was never the fault of Becky. That was the fault of the booking, involving Becky's title run. I digress, though. Like I said, at this point or whatever, it's like I said, it was a great moment. It was a great moment. It also gave me the best laugh I've had all year so far, because Shayna Baszler is a maniac, and I love her.
Yeah, she is.
How you cut a promo on a baby, I will never understand, but it's like, bro, I respect it. I really respect it.
I am honestly
did it. She did it right.
Listen, MJF, you're the man. Go sit your ass down. Shayna Baszler is the best heel in wrestling.
I gotta go back and watch that because I don't even remember what she said.
Yo, she said, "How can you be so stupid to get yourself knocked up while you're the champion?" Then she says, 10 out of 10 mothers will tell you that having a baby didn't ruin their career. She said it's going to be funny to see the man sitting on the couch, fat, eating a bunch of bonbons. Then she says, yeah, that kid's going to suck. Don't you know who the father is? Oh,
bro, she went in. Like, she went in.
That was the equivalent to the CM Punk mic drop. Pipe bomb.
Yo, it was almost.
Wow.
It was just almost over the line. It's like if the line was here, Shayna is pushing it. Like, listen, you're gonna break.
She jumped over that line, bro.
Yo, I'm just like,
wow.
It wasn't to the point where you're looking at it and it's just like, yo, this is it. All right, you know what? Do you remember when Charlotte won the championship for the first time, when she won the Divas title? And the first thing they did was turn Paige heel, and they had Paige cut that line or whatever about her brother being dead.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Oh,
that's crossing the line.
Oh, yeah.
That right there is crossing the line. And that was one of those things where everybody involved was like super uncomfortable. This was not that. This was fucking hilarious.
I feel like Becky
it crossed the line. It crossed the line, but it didn't cross it as bad as like when Paige said that about Charlotte Flair's brother. That crossed it.
I feel like Becky might have helped write that line though. Like that sounds like something Becky would say.
What was that?
She said he thinks that's something Becky would have said. So she probably helped her write that line.
Right. Like that's what I'm trying to figure out. Like who wrote that? Did Shayna come that one on herself? Top of the head? Off the top of her head? Did she write that down? Did Becky tell her to say that? Did Vince? Where did those lines come from?
I feel like that may have come from Shayna, but it was more of those like, is it okay for me to go here? And then go to Seth like, is it okay for me to go here? And they're like, yeah, no, it's the business. Like, you do whatever. And I feel like I can hear Seth like cackling while watching this. Just
Yeah. I mean, and it was another. And then you had Bobby squash Humberto, and I like that because it shows Bobby's Ruth is coming out. It's telling us, and then you have him talking to MVP like, "Yo, let's talk," and then you're sowing the seeds of that, And I just don't like MVP with that Australian tag team. Like,
it makes no sense. It doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't. When I saw it, I was just like, I gave it a dialogue look, like, what the heck? What? Huh? Wait.
Like that's a Paul Heyman move. That's not an MVP move. That's a Paul Heyman move.
Yeah, it is. So I like what the Bobby. They need to get him away from the Australian tag team. It just doesn't. It doesn't make sense at all for nobody. what else did they have going on Monday night? Then they had I just want to get this one out. I want to get this one out. It's the Street Profits and the Viking War Raiders
basketball game.
I just want to get that over.
Racism. That's all I'm gonna say. Racist. Hella racist. And the fact that the Viking Raiders were low-key nice is a little offensive. It felt like a very, very Larry Bird, Magic Johnson to me. You guys are racist. Stop this.
Yeah.
At a point Monday, I turned Raw off. I started watching. Like I said, I went back to the PlayStation, and again, part of this is because of the fact that it's an empty arena, and you need the fans there to actually keep keep the entertainment factor up. The other fact is the fact that I had 3 freaking games that I had been waiting years for to come out, and I'm gonna play them shits. But when I finally saw the highlights, when I saw exactly what these segments were, the only thing that popped in my head, and Paul, you'll probably remember this way more than Jay. Do you remember the old Mr. Perfect vignettes?
Yeah.
In the gym, and he's throwing the football, and he's catching the football on the other end. I'm looking at this. I'm like, oh my God. This is exactly what I was thinking when I'm up here looking at this. I'm just like, this is so stupid.
Yeah, I don't know why. I mean, it made no sense. It's a time killer. I get it. You only have a certain amount of matches you can put on. I get it.
Racism.
You could have gone a better route.
Racism. That's all I'm gonna say.
Now, let's talk about the Andrade stable. It seems like they're starting to break Austin Theory out of it, and from what we're hearing, he's getting demoted, or not demoted, but pushed back over to NXT. Apparently, NXT is also a main brand now, but he's getting sent back to NXT.
Good. That's how he should have went anyway.
Well, he was
essentially a replacement player, so
he was like the temporary for Andrade when he was out for that short time.
Yeah.
Instead of just letting Garza just take over completely.
They had to make moves because of losing people due to COVID. So yeah, they had to throw somebody in there. Yeah, that too.
Yeah. So.
But I mean, I'm sorry, and this is gonna sound really wrong. Why didn't you just bring up someone Hispanic?
Who do they have?
Austin. Listen, they're coming out with a bunch of. They had a bunch of people that are randomly showing up. You got the guy from freaking the 205 Live tournament, Los, whatever the crap his name is. You had people you literally just have people that aren't even being used yet, that haven't even been through development yet, and you just need a body there. At least be consistent, because Austin Theory is literally like the white friend that shows up at school on the first day and hangs out with all the Mexican gangbangers. I don't know what else. What? Oh yeah, I'm from a foreign country. I play soccer, so I'm gonna hang out with Spanish kids. That's what it felt like to me. It's what? What are we doing here?
Here's one thing they could have done. And it might have worked. I'm just saying, because it's probably temporary. No way, Jose. He was still on the roster when this all happened.
I mean, but then you would have to go through the whole. He has to do a heel turn, and then you have to revamp his character temporarily.
They'd have to make him incredible.
You could have left him. You could have left him the way he was.
There was no way you could have did. No way, Jose. With that whole, you can't do that gimmick with that group.
No. You could have left it. You could have taken the group away and just brought him over. Like Selena could have just talked like, "Hey, look, you're the group there. Come with us. You're gonna win. It's only temporary." And then they kick his ass and kick him out the group. Once Andrade comes in, because he does. Because who are you gonna bring up from NXT? Raul Mendoza.
Yeah.
Matt Riddle. He's Spanish.
When he's high.
That actually would have been hilarious.
Like, who else is there?
Like,
I'm looking at the roster.
You would have had Angel Garza talking about, hey, who are you? Da-da-da. Bro, chill out, man. Let's just go out there and just have some fun, bro. And then you have Selena getting aggravated.
Did you just rip off your pants?
It's like, bro.
I'm Matteo Ridalli.
Yo, that would have been hilarious.
Oh, shit.
I'm Mateo Ruiz, bro. That would have been hilarious and extremely racist. That's probably why they didn't do it.
But I mean, it made no sense. I mean, I get it. You're trying to build a stable with Spanish stars. You just have to be careful when you're doing stuff like this. You know?
Yeah, you can't whitewash it. That doesn't work.
It doesn't. Doesn't make any sense.
That's like when they put Owen Hart in the Nation of Domination. Like,
this shit was hilarious.
Like, at some point, you're just like, what? What is going on here?
Yeah.
Hey, listen, he was the blackest one in the group. I don't want to hear it.
I'm sorry.
Ahmed Johnson.
When you got
Ahmed Johnson was definitely the blackest person in the group. And you had D'Lo Brown doing this. It wasn't nothing blacker than coming out and doing all this. Like, we was that defined an era. Like, we still, when people get mad, we still do that.
The D'Lo Brown
like,
walk.
Everybody still does that walk. People still do the walk now. Like, you can't. But Owen Hart was a gangster. I'll give him that. But, like, Austin Theory didn't do that. Austin Theory sounded like a whiny little kid. Just, taking L's.
He didn't fit in.
He didn't fit.
He didn't fit at all.
What you had with that situation was another rush job. It was one of those things where they brought him up there not on a whim, but they brought him up there, with the plan of, all right, you're just going to be a fill-in. All right, so it wasn't, chemistry wasn't a thing that they were even looking at. Well, and you honestly ended up with a situation where you had, the DIY call up.
All right. Yeah.
Whereas, like, you're having to suspend disbelief now because of the fact that it's just like, all right, we know this guy from down in NXT. He hasn't even gotten his wheels started, down there in NXT. Just now, we're going to call him up to the main roster and immediately just believe he's going to be completely, fluid with these guys that have been, not together forever, but they've been together for months. We're just expected to believe that because of the fact that you decided to call in this. Like, that was doomed from the start. Like, I get what they were trying to do. You're trying to fill spots because, like I said, you don't have your U.S. champion at the point, and because you don't have your U.S. champion, you don't have a U.S. title match, right? I mean, it's not like we strip titles or anything around here, but I mean, they had to throw a tag team match out there, so they threw a team together for the Street Profits to go up against when they could have been building, instead of doing the stupid shit that they're doing right now with the Viking Raiders, they could have been building an actual match between the two of them. But
moving on and pivoting, perfect segue, by the way, perfect segue. Our last final point that we were going to address this podcast. Sami Zayn has officially been stripped of his title, and there will now be a tournament starting next week to crown the new Intercontinental Champion. Now, here are several issues with this, because this is the second time this has happened, and it doesn't make sense. The first time was the Naomi situation, where they stripped her for the women's title. It never made sense. No. Now they're stripping Sami Zayn.
And she won it back. Don't forget that either.
Yeah, and then she won it back, which was like, what? Okay. So they're stripping Sami Zayn of the title, apparently because he can't defend it. And according to the clause, if you go 30 days without a defense, you have to relinquish the title. Again, doesn't make sense because
Brock Lesnar.
Andrade was didn't defend he hasn't defended his title consistently for months. Like, he's on TV, but he doesn't defend his title. So this just feels like a shot at Sami Zayn. Thank you. It feels like a shot at Sami Zayn, and a lot of it just doesn't make any sort of sense. And it's like, of course, as soon as Sami Zayn finally wins the singles title, and we finally get Sami Zayn as a champion, this happens to him. And it's like, really?
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, and somebody brought up a good point. Like, why didn't Andrade get stripped? Oh, because he's dating Charlotte. And it's like, as much as we don't want to play up the politics, it's politics. And it's kind of sad. Like, it's really, really sad that someone who's such a talent like Sami Zayn continues to get shafted. And it's not Andrade's fault that they show favoritism, but the favoritism obviously being shown is just disrespectful to the talent in the back, like, straight up.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And
I brought this up.
I don't understand it.
I brought this up as another possibility as to why they're doing it. But it definitely goes to the politics side or the political side of it. And I'm sorry, my English isn't right. It's 3:15 in the morning.
Yeah.
Sammy for Syria. Sammy for Syria runs around it runs exactly concurrent with every single one of these Saudi shows, and it's not something that's WWE approved. He does it because of the fact he cannot go there, and he doesn't agree with their method. He doesn't agree with any of their views or anything like that. So he goes out there to support the Syrian people. He does all of this fundraising and everything like that. He even has other IWC people out there, raising money for him. Because if I remember correctly, Brian Zane from Wrestling with Regret did something during one of it. I'm saying Zane. I don't remember if it was actually him, but he did the watch along. He did the live during one of the Saudi shows. Every single one of the donations that came into his YouTube channel went straight to Sami for Syria. So he's got support coming in from all of these different places and everything like that, and it's making the WWE look worse than they already are for dealing with these bloodhounders. These all of this blood money that they're getting from them. So, I honestly think that this is another way to sit up here and punish him for going out there and, looking out for himself if he is indeed staying away due to health concerns. Like I said, the other thing that it can be because of the fact that he's living in Canada, he could be travel banned, and we don't know.
Yeah.
So, like I said, you don't know exactly what the situation is, whether it's him calling the shot himself or if it's, him being unable to actually do it. But you saw the thing they're trying to spin it, saying that, oh, well, Sami Zayn isn't the champion anymore. He relinquished X, Y, and Z. And you, Jaquan, yourself said, no, he came out, was like, no, ain't nobody beat me. I'm still a champion. So,
I mean, the only upside to this is it opens up the opportunity for what he himself referred to as a full house, because the only title that Sheamus hasn't won is the Intercontinental title.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
ready.
Yeah, he hasn't won it.
Hasn't won it. Yeah, that's right. It's the same thing with Cena.
He said that he said it's not. I think his words were, it's not a grand slam. It would be a full house because he's won the Royal Rumble and the King of the Ring.
No, the only other thing he hasn't done is Universal, but he ain't winning that.
Yeah, so he said he doesn't count it because it's from the era in which he started. So that's why he said he counted the King of the Ring and he counted the Royal Rumble. So he would have what they would call a full house if he gets the Intercontinental title. So I think that that's a very interesting caveat, and I feel like if they're gonna put it on anybody, they should put it on him. And then
hell, you got a built-in feud right there, him and Jeff Hardy, because that's the feud they're building to.
I mean, yeah, definitely. And it gives something for Jeff Hardy to build towards, and then it keeps the title interesting up until Sami comes back, and if they decide to put the title back on Sami, he could come back face, heel, whatever. He can come back as like the fight against the system face that CM Punk was, and
I want
you know,
NXT
win the title. Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
but
you're not going to get that Sami Zayn back. You know that.
Sami Zayn can come back. Here's the problem. We know Sami Zayn can wrestle. We know his mic skills are good. But the problem is Vince doesn't believe in him. And we can see the way he treats him, the way he writes him. This title run that he was getting on was something. It was funny. It wasn't meant to happen because of the fact that Braun was supposed to keep it for who knows how long, but because of the fact that they needed Braun to be available for the Mania match in case Roman wasn't going to be there, which he didn't end up being there. Braun had to jump in there. So Sami was like given the title. I don't know why, but it worked out for the best for the fans, to be honest.
Right.
You know, we finally got something we wanted. We got something we wanted, and he was working good with it. It was good. The first thing that he started was I think he got dental work, which is why he missed some shows. And then after that, I think it was COVID-19. And here's the problem.
Yeah.
Vince had said there was like the policy was like, yeah, if you want to stay home, you're not going to get punished, whatever, you'll be all right, be cool. Obviously, that's not the case. Because if you wasn't going to be punished, you would have had an interim title up for grabs. And I don't know why they don't want to bring this whole thing with COVID-19 on the air. Just say, hey, look, because health concerns, so-and-so staying home, because there's so-and-so staying home. Ain't nothing wrong with that. We're all facing this. We see the empty crowds. We know what it is. Just say it. Staying home. Boom, boom. You could even play as part of the damn storylines. You know, you can have somebody chasing the IC title. Oh, where's Sami? Oh, he's home. Why is he home? Because of the coronavirus? You staying home because of that? I'll wear a mask. Come fight me, whatever. Whatever you want to do, you can write this in. I'm going to tap the damn thing myself. This makes too much damn sense. But if I feel bad for Sami because we finally got to something that he needed to have. He should have gotten a long time ago that he deserved. And they got taken away for no freaking reason. If his name was Brock Lesnar, it would have been fine. If he was in a relationship with somebody that had political pull, it would have been fine. But because he's not in that boat, it gets pulled away. You know, and I hate to see that. We all hate to see that.
I mean, the only good thing about this is that you'll probably get a Sheamus versus Cesaro match, which, again, like Keith Lee and Dominik Dijakovic are usually bangers. So that's the one silver lining I can say. Like, okay, well, at least we get that match, and you may get Cesaro with the title again because you know Cesaro and Shinsuke are probably going to get thrown in there somewhere.
Yeah.
So, you know, maybe this has been saying, like, you know what, we're going to put the title on you, and then you and Jeff will feud or something. Like, you get something that's a little interesting, but it won't be that interesting because you know it's not going to last long.
Yeah. And I don't mind it. I want to see a tournament style for this title, and I'm good with that.
Oh, for sure.
You know, it has to be. I want to see 8 wrestlers at least go for it. You got to find 8. At least pull some up for NXT or 205 at least. But it needs to be 8. You can't just do 4. I feel cheated.
You can't really do, and you can't do 205 or NXT because they're having the tournament now for the interim cruiserweight title.
Oh, jeez, I forgot.
So, but I mean, those guys are definitely under. They wouldn't be in this type of tournament anyway.
Well, just for the first round, just the jobber at least.
I mean, it would be really cool to see Matt Riddle come up and wrestle. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, but the thing is,
I need to see Matt Riddle kick Baron Corbin's face off for eliminating him from the Royal Rumble. That would actually be
a really dope match to see too.
But see the thing, I don't want him coming up just to take a jobber and take a L in the first round.
I mean, I wouldn't mind him coming up to take the L if it's a good match. Because again, Matt Riddle just lost the title, so he's in that dead space. So him coming up for an opportunity makes sense. And him having a one-off for an opportunity makes sense, and it's a test run to see how he vibes with the other guys from from the other guys from the main roster.
Mm.
Because again, what are you going to do with him? You're going to have him go for the North American title? Maybe. Are you going to have him go for the NXT title? Probably not. So what else are you going to have him do? He's not going to go back for the tag titles. Why not have him get a little you can give him 1 or 2 wins in the tournament to kind of, put him in front of the masses in a sense. You can have him get a nice little run. I just think that there are so many things that you can do with this that don't have to immediately pay dividends. Like, ultimately, you know who you want to have it, but you can use this tournament to even build NXT feuds to make you guys want to watch NXT. You can build Raw versus SmackDown feuds. You can build Raw versus Raw feuds. Like, if you have, that's why I would love, even if it's a 16-man tournament, and do it over the span of like 2, 3, or like over the span of the next month, and then culminate it at the next pay-per-view.
That's a lot. 6. I mean, I would have been fine if it was a U.S. title before the cuts. Before the cuts.
I mean, my whole thing is again, the Intercontinental title is on SmackDown, right?
Yeah, but here's the thing too: is I don't think you want to go too far, because if you have a heavyweight title that's up for grabs, you want a tournament, you want that one to be a bigger one. You want to put more names in that one. The IC title, I don't think you want. I think 8 is fine for me.
I think only reason why I say 16 is because, again, as much as we tend to forget it now, the IC title is one of the more prestigious titles in wrestling history, period. Not just Intercontinental title. I mean, not just that. But that's the thing. How are you going to reestablish the prestige when literally 2 years ago it was the most sought after title when Miz had it? It was one of the biggest titles out there.
It's because of
how do you expect to
worked with? When Miz had it, when Cena had the U.S. title, they were being worked. Right now, neither of those belts are being worked.
But that's my point. Why not work it? Because again, you have Braun there, yes, but what are you doing with Braun? Nothing. So give him a breather. Let him talk. Let him talk trash. If he's going to go back and forth with the Fiend, then yes, you have that feud. What are you doing with the rest of the roster? You're not doing anything. So why not do that?
Yeah. This is going to be interesting to see where they're going to take this title, where they're going to go with it. It's wide open. Like we said, there's going to be a tournament going on. Has to be another tournament again. This is like, what, second, third tournament going to happen for a title?
Good. I'd rather those than to just put it on somebody.
And just put a pay-per-view with the damn tournament like they used to do with King of the Ring.
You know what? I wouldn't hate that. I would not hate that. Like, that'd be a really cool concept for to bring back Judgment Day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or you have like a 6-man Hell in a Cell and you do it at No Way Out. Makes sense.
Yeah. Well, we don't even know what pay-per-view they're gonna have next, because, like we said, they're pushing back SummerSlam to September most likely. So, yeah. Yeah, that's.
So yeah, I think that pretty much covers the last 2 days or the last week of wrestling.
Yeah, it's a lot. it's a lot to see what's going to happen, what's going to transpire. Again, thank you for joining us. This is a late show for us. We're all fading out here.
Yeah, Benny's fried.
3:30 in the morning on Thursday night on May. Which now May 15th, Friday, May 15th. Thank you for joining us. Until the next show, Benny, Jaquan, and myself. See you next time.
Peace.